Y'all know we're always gonna hype our local theater scene, but sometimes we know people want to get away. That's why if you're headed to the Northeast, I'm gonna put y'all on to the Williamstown Theater Festival this summer. From July 17th to August 3rd, among the Berkshire Mountains in northwestern Massachusetts, over 130 artists will take the stage for nearly 100 performances. Some of the offerings include a world premiere from Jeremy O. Harris, a production of Camino Reels starring Pamela Anderson and Nicholas Alexander Chavez, and a new adaptation of a Samuel Barber opera. Discounted hotel rooms are available through June 1st. Go to WTFestival.org and make your plans to immerse yourself in theater this summer. Today on CityCast Chicago, where can the night owls go to eat? And I'm not talking about 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. We're going through Chicago's 24-hour restaurants. It's Wednesday, May 21st. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I've got producer Michelle Navarro in the building with me, a self-described night owl herself. Michelle, what's good, my friend? How you feeling?
Hey, Jacoby, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm not out here complaining. Michelle, you kind of brought this to our attention that you are somebody who finds yourself out past 1 a.m., past 2 a.m. And like some of us are out here starved for food, looking for where can you go to grab something quick. And sometimes most restaurants in Chicago are closing and shutting down before you shutting down. How would you describe Chicago's 24-hour restaurant scene?
We're lucky to be in a city like Chicago where we do have a lot of 24-hour options compared to a lot of smaller cities, right? I don't know if you've ever been on vacation somewhere, probably a smaller town in the US, and
the entire city shut down.
The whole city by 9 p.m., 10 p.m. gets shut down. And so then you find yourself in a pickle because you're like, I'm starving. There's nothing open. And so I feel like I've been through this experience and it's made me realize how expansive Chicago's 24-hour dining scene is. But also, I mean, due to the pandemic, a lot of people's favorite diners and 24-hour spots shut down. It's still, in 2025, we're still seeing a lot of restaurants coming back to full service, to that 24-hour, that late night schedule. And so I think it's been a slow but steady kind of coming back to what Chicago's 24-hour scene was back in 2020. When I was kind of trying to do some research and look up places that are 24 hours, I found that most lists kind of stayed away from the 24-hour service and more so looked at late, quote unquote, late night spots, which usually mean like 11 p.m. or after, which is late, right? 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m. That's pretty late. In Chicago, we're used to a handful of 4 a.m. bars. But even then, you don't really know if the kitchen at these bars are going to be open. And so they'll give you a drink, but they will not serve you food. And there's a lot of really good classic staples that are all over the city too. Like in every corner, you can find at least one place.
Yeah, I was going to say I was on Reddit and somebody put them on a Google map, and it's arguably one of the most equitable maps we've talked about. You can find something across every single neighborhood from Austin down to Auburn, Gresham, and Avalon Park, all the way up to Edgewater, even something in Norwood Park. But you talk about if you go to Google this, if you go to look this up, a lot of lists are 11 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Is it easy to find the 24-hour spots, or do you have to be familiar with the classics? Like, how did you find them?
Yeah, so I want to give a big shout out to Adam at Chicago Centric. This was one of the few published lists that contained most, if not all, of Chicago's 24-hour list. Again, I did research on this, and every time I saw a Reddit post or I saw something online that someone was saying, oh, this is a 24-hour spot in my neighborhood, or this is a 24-hour spot I frequent, I would always check back to Adam's list, and he had it on there. And so I reached out to him to kind of ask him, because I was like, how did you come up with this almost, if not for sure, complete list? And he said same thing, right? He was researching different sites, going on Reddit, but he also kind of just said that he went through Google Maps, like he went through the Chicago map, neighborhood by neighborhood, and looked at all the restaurants to see which ones were 24 hours. And a lot of these spots are sometimes holes in the walls, right? And so they don't even have a website. So he had to call in, or he had to go himself to make sure that it was actually 24 hours. So I really appreciated that. having that list at, online, I think it's incredibly helpful.
So Michelle, you've narrowed it down to 4 types of 24-hour spots. What are they?
Yeah, so the 4 types that I found, and also Adam agreed that these are kind of the different genres of 24-hour restaurants, is probably one of the easiest is like the classic 24-hour diner. This is like a classic big menu. Whatever you can order for breakfast, you can order for dinner, or you can order at 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. And so that means like you got your French toast, you got your burgers, your soups, your larger platters. Your second one, very special to Chicago, is the hot dog stands, aka the Maxwell's. I call it the Maxwell's because damn near all of them have the word Maxwell. It is a Maxwell spot. And so these, of course, are your hot dogs, your burgers, your big babies, your pizza puffs, your Polishes. Everything you can get in a hot dog stand, you can get it here. The other 2 are a little more broader. So one of them being Mexican, there is a lot of Mexican 24-hour spots where you can get your tacos, your burritos, your plates with rice, beans, and some kind of like meat. And so these are kind of also, you can find these at any corner of the city. Of course, it is very helpful that we have the second largest Mexican population in the US. And so shout out to that, because we have a large range of Mexican restaurants. And then kind of the last section is more like the et cetera, but this is like sandwich, seafood, and wings.
So let's start with diners. What are some of your favorites on this list?
One that really stood out to me, because I've gone to this one a handful of times, is White Palace Grill in South Loop. This is where you find like after, a night out, people in there will still be partying. Like people in there are kind of like winding down from the night.
Yeah, I have walked past White Palace Grill so many times, and it always looks like somebody is in there breaking up. Like every single time, it looks like a relationship is ending at White Palace Grill. And I have been walking past there at 4 in the afternoon, and I have been there at 3, 4 in the morning. And it feels like there's always just one couple who this is their last meal together.
White Palace Grill is also really known because it was
diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
With Guy Fieri.
And so that's a place that good old Guy has been to. And so great service, really friendly staff. The next one that I know a lot of my friends frequent, especially my friends who live in Pilsen, is Steak and Egger, another very classic Chicago diner. One that recently went back to 24-hour dining just last year was Hollywood Grill up in Wicker Park.
I've been there a couple times.
Likewise. Yeah, same. I've also been there a couple times. And so a lot of people were really excited to have Hollywood Grill back on the 24-hour scene.
I was going to say, overall, there's about 9-ish diners on the list that are 24 hours. One that I have found myself to after a show at the Athenaeum or a night at like Replay Lincoln Park is Golden Apple. I've had the French toast, steak and eggs. The service is usually good no matter what time you go in. And the one thing I really appreciate about a diner, and it takes me back, we're going to talk a little bit later about some of our favorite memories, but I really appreciate about a late night diner is I never feel rushed inside of it. I feel like I can kind of melt into the booth. I can sit in whatever state that I'm in, whether I'm exhausted from a show, whether I've been drinking, playing Mortal Kombat or Blitz all night over at Replay. Like a lot of people sell the diner aesthetic, but like a good 24-hour diner, there's always just like this feel of like, the people who work there want to step out and take a cigarette. There's always like this 50-year-old woman who is just calling you sweetheart or baby and checking to see if you need coffee. Like that it takes me back every single time that I've been to Golden Apple. And so I appreciate them.
A diner is like a hug, and you get to be well fed and you get to go home, which I love. I love diners. That's probably from American culture, I'm very proud of. I think diners is like top tier. It's like diners and denim, top tier American culture right there.
I don't know about you, but my spidey senses is tingling because our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is swinging straight into the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry on May 22nd. Marvel Spider-Man Beyond Amazing, the exhibition, lets us explore the world of one of the most popular superheroes of all time. We can see rare comic books, props, and costumes from the Spider-Man movies, interactive installations, and life-size statues of characters like Miles Morales, Ghost Spider, and of course, Peter Parker himself. Fans can trace Spider-Man's story from its first comic book appearance in 1962 to his latest runs in TV, billion-dollar movies, and of course, my absolute favorite video game to play on the PS5. Don't miss Marvel Spider-Man Beyond Amazing, the exhibition, open May 22nd through February 8th, 2026 at the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. Tickets on sale now at msichicago.org. Step right up. Cats is under the big top in Paramount's reimagined take on this legendary musical. That's right. The Tony Award-winning musical is at the Paramount Theater in Aurora, and audiences have been loving it. And sure, maybe you've seen Cats before, but trust me, you ain't never seen it quite like this. This circus tent of Jellicle Cats is a spectacle of contortion, acrobatics, juggling, and aerial feats, featuring the cats you know and love like Mungo Jerry, Bustopher Jones, and more. Running through June 15th, Paramount Theater's production of Cats is set to enchant a whole new generation. Get your tickets today at ParamountAurora.com. And hey, use the code CityCast for $5 off per ticket, up to 4 tickets. That's my gift to you.
The next section, like I mentioned, was
the hot dog stand, which essentially is where is the closest Maxwell's to you in the city.
Exactly. That's going to determine which one you go to. And so growing up, me and my cousins, after a night of unfortunately underage drinking, we would head to Maxwell's in back of the yards off Western. Been there plenty of times. This is a spot where it's a classic Maxwell's. There's no inside seating, so you kind of just go up to the window. And so this is where I get my Big Baby or my Pizza Puff. I can't eat Pizza Puffs no more. It's too acidic for my grown stomach, but this is what I would usually get here. A Big Baby, Chicago dog, lots of grilled onion right before I go to sleep. Other Maxwell spots that deserve a shout out. I mean, there is the Maxwell Street Polish in Greater Grand Crossing. There is the Maxwell Street Depot in Bridgeport. This was one of Adam's favorites because he used to live right there. And so he said that he went to this one very often. There's the Maxwell Street Express in Auburn, the original Maxwell Street in Garfield Park, there's so many Maxwells. Maxwell Street Express in West Pullman, and the original Maxwell Street in Austin. Jacoby, which was your local Maxwell growing up? Or what's your local one now?
The one I grew up going to the most was Avalon Park off 79th in South Chicago, because it is right down the street from my grandma's house. And I literally just had Maxwell's last week. I told you, my brother came over and I had cheeseburger, extra onions. Tay had a hot dog, extra onions, Polish, extra onions. Like it's the spot that you don't have to think about what you want. It's like Harold's. It's like you just have an order. You get it every single time. You don't mix it up. Like I ain't never had a pork chop sandwich. I'm never going to try a pork chop sandwich. I don't want it. I'm gonna get the exact same thing I've always gotten.
Less options in a diner, so it's less overwhelming. There's also you don't have to encounter all these people. And so if you're a little scared of being perceived for whatever reason, whether it's you're going to break up with your partner or whether you're just drunk, I think a Maxwell's is cool because you know what you're going to get. Like you said, you don't have to think about it, and no frills, no bullshit. You just go up to the counter, you get your food, and you get out. And they're going to be fast. So if you really want something, or if you just want something to go, they're going to wrap it up quick and you can just go on your way, head home, and know you're going to be taken care of. The next section that of 24-hour restaurants is, of course, Mexican. who doesn't want late night tacos, right? Or a late night burrito or something hefty and hearty that you can have. Also, usually pretty quick. For late night tacos, me and my friends will always try to go to like a late night taco spot, which was like at Totonilco. But again, they close at 2, not all their locations, but some of the locations close at 2 a.m. And so usually we get kind of stuck with like, I guess we're just going to have Mexican for breakfast because everything's closed. But there is about 7 places in the city that we found that have Mexican food. One spot that I found that I think was really interesting is Manolo's Tamales in Westlawn. Don't get it confused with the one in Gage Park because that one closes at 5 p.m. Tamales are usually like a really early breakfast thing. So a lot of tamale spots usually close in the afternoon / early evening. Manolo's Tamales in Westlawn is great because if you want a tamal, if you want a champurrado or an atole, which again you can only usually get at breakfast time, this is a great spot to get your tamales. And also it's like might as well, you can get a whole dozen and then you're ready for breakfast. You could wake up and it's like a gift to your future self. And so that spot is pretty solid. Other spots that serve Mexican food 24 hours is Lindo Guadalajara in Ravenswood, Tacos El Tío, both locations in Belmont Cragen and Westridge, El Rancherito in Logan Square, Chavas in Ukrainian Village, Yolanda's in Little Village. Jacoby, have you ever been to any of these?
Yeah, I've been to Yolanda's and got a burrito suizo. I like a good burrito covered in cheese after drinking all night. I can't remember, but I feel like I've had some of these others through like Uber Eats or DoorDash. That's probably the way I most interact with a 24-hour restaurant is me getting home. Like I typically am not going to pull up at 2, 3 a.m. I'm typically going to get home, see what's on Uber Eats or DoorDash. And that's why I more or less end up getting food from this last category of yours, which is just like sandwich, seafood, wings, is because these are typically the things available on DoorDash. So what's some of the spots available here?
Yeah, so a very popular one and one that I love is Lawrence Fish and Shrimp in Chinatown. I love popcorn shrimp and some fries. Like, come on, like you can't go wrong.
Jumbo shrimp with mild sauce, it hits every single time. I've probably had Lawrence's twice already this year on just some home late Uber Eats. Didn't want to get like McDonald's or something.
You're bougie for getting Uber Eats because I feel like I'm the type where I'm like, if I go home and I have to order, I'll be sad because I'm like, I don't want to stay up. Then I have to go
I order
downstairs
on
and
the
get the
way
food.
home while I'm on the
Okay.
Uber. I order as I'm leaving the spot so that it meets me home. And I done got met at the door with some Uber Eats, or just sat in the lobby for like 3 minutes. That's my go-to. I'm gonna order it on the way.
I'm the type where I'm like, I just want to get my food, have it in my hands, and know that I can just like eat it right away. Cause I'll be like looking at the map, like I'm like, no, where is this guy at? And another seafood spot is Captain Hook's Fish and Chicken in Chatham. Sandwich spots, there's Parkway Hoagies in Parkway Gardens. There's Brothers Submarine in Inglewood. There's Jimmy's Food and Deli in Austin. And Stony Sub in Avalon Park, which Jacoby, you said you've been to.
This is another one. I love their menu because it is 24 hours. It said on the restaurant. It like the restaurant is covered with pictures of the things that you can get there, from burgers to French stuff. Like it says breakfast, lunch, and dinner, open 24 hours, clean as day, but there is nowhere to sit down. There you get your food and again you leave. And it was right like a couple blocks from Taurus, and they just always were these 2 restaurants that just like stuck out as you was going up Stony that you could consistently go to. And they always have a line or people in there. I wish I could describe the block a little more, but it is a largely dark block at the end of the night. Just all of everything shut down. There's like a gas station a little down, but Stony Sub is just this it's like this really bright and lit building. And it's so small. It looks like a little restaurant shack, but the bright lights and the bright paint and the words on the side of the building, the lettering, it sticks out so beautifully on that block. And so, yeah, that's when I probably just get like a hoagie sandwich from Stony Sub, like a burger and fries every time. But Yeah, between those two, I've had them a lot over the last 30 years.
I mean, Jacoby, you talk about visiting these two spots very often, a lot of memories from being, around your mom's house. But what's your best 24-hour restaurant memory?
So this one is going to take us to the south suburbs. And we used to, after a long night at the rink, which, some people may or may not know, Rich City Skate, where me and my family worked when I was in high school and in college and even after. But when I was in high school, we would have these parties on the weekend that would sometimes go till 4 a.m. And this was after a day where you'd get there at like maybe 9:30, 10, prepare for a 12 to 4 session where you'd have to run like 5 or 6 birthday parties. And then you have a 4:30 to 7:30, which was the non-sanctioned or non-licensed SpongeBob party, where my older brother Josh would have to put on a SpongeBob costume for 3 hours and have kids just like pushing him, throwing him around. And he did it all while on skates. And then you have an 8 to 11:30 where we get like 1,000 kids in there to mostly stand around while people skated for like, while 100 people skated for 2 hours. And then they would go out there and juke for 2 hours and footwork and dance. And then even after that party, it ended at like 12, we'd have a 1 to 4. And this is when just like legendary skaters would come in from all over the city. And then after that, we finished cleaning and it'd be like 5 a.m. and we'd all go to an IHOP and it'd be like 15 of us, mom, dad, brothers, the people who worked, the DJ. And we were sitting there pretty much until the sun came up, just like talking shit, tired as hell, eating pancakes. And I know that IHOP is like the most generic of the 24-hour restaurant genre, but we had over 50 nights just together in those booths over the years. And the laughter, like you don't often get that kind of, that you like it, I miss when we could laugh to a point where you thought you were about to like suffocate because you couldn't breathe. That's what we would do in the IHOP. And you'd watch people get promoted from just starting to work at the IHOP to become the manager. It was like, it was a whole TV show. It was so perfect. What about you?
My favorite, I don't know if it was an exact restaurant. Definitely late nights at Huck Finn. Again, not 24 hours except for the one in Oaklawn, but being at a diner really late, definitely either White Palace or Hollywood Grill. Like you said, it's just like it's such a weird time to be in a restaurant so late. And you find all different kinds of people, right? You find people who just got off a shift. You find people who are like you and probably just got done partying or are coming back from a party or maybe getting ready to go to a shift. Like it's just all the people that you find in 24-hour restaurants. It's so interesting and fascinating to see, that for some reason all of us are up and we all decided that we wanted like French toast right now or something. I love the feeling and like the ambiance of a late night restaurant and going home and getting a good night's sleep after eating well is a great memory every single time. So I just love that.
Right. Well, I appreciate you putting in the effort to track down the very few lists that exist for 24-hour restaurants. And honestly, this got me, I really want some Lawrence fish and shrimp now. And I don't think I'm going to wait till 3 a.m. to get it.
Yeah, I'm actually, once you started talking about that jumbo shrimp and the mild sauce, I was like, damn, that sounds like it's about to hit. And so probably same. Of course, we probably didn't get to every 24-hour restaurant. And so if there is a restaurant that, you didn't hear today, definitely write to us and let us know, put us on to what your local or favorite 24-hour restaurant is.
773-780-0246. Leave your name, your neighborhood, and your favorite 24-hour spot. In the meantime, in between time, join me in thanking our producer, Michelle Navarro, for stopping by today.
Thanks, Jacoby.
Before we get out of here, please subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago, by visiting our website, chicago.citycast.fm. And while you're there, stick around, put your feet up, look around a little bit, enjoy yourself. We got neighborhood guides, old podcast episodes, and so much more. Something you're going to only find on the podcast, though, of course, is the good news. A couple events I want to put you on include Build Chicago's Youth Open Mic Friday at the Build campus in Austin off of Harrison and Laramie. Also, over at the Haven Entertainment Center Friday night, you've got DJ Dwayne Powell, a party called Tribe, brought to you by Michelada Fest in the Silver Room, hosted by my homie Binky. And then on Saturday afternoon, Unsocial Aesthetics is hosting their 6th annual Love Memorial for young people lost to gun violence in the last year. That's going to be in Chatham off of 86 and King Drive. I'll drop links in the show notes to each of these events. And as always, we appreciate you for listening and reading. If you got some events you want to put us up on, please, 773-780-0246. I'm going to talk to y'all bright and early tomorrow, or, whenever the hell you listen. Peace.